We'll start with the prayer to Padmasambhava. Om Argan Yogi Nujab Sang Pema Gesa Dombola Yang Sen Chogi Nujubni Pema Jungne Jesudra Gordu Gandro Mampa Ko Keki Jesuda Drupki Jingi Lapcher Shaksu So Guru Pema Siddhi Hung Om Argan Yogi Nujab Sang Pema Gesa Dombola Yang Sen Chogi Nujubni Pema Jungne Jesudra Gordu Gandro Mampa Ko Keki Jesuda Drupki Jingi Lapcher Shaksu So Guru Pema Siddhi Hung Om Argan Yogi Nujab Sang Pema Gesa Dombola Yang Sen Chogi Nujubni Pema Jungne Jesudra Gordu Gandro Mampa Ko Ketki Jesuda Drupki Jingi Lapcher Shaksu So Guru Pema Siddhi Hung. Bring your awareness to the body. Release any tension in the shoulders, in the jaw, allowing the forehead to be spacious. Feeling the crown of the head to be soft, like a baby's skin. Soften the eyes. Again, relax the shoulders. Open up the belly. Feel the connection with the earth. That you're stable, supported. Completely at ease. And with the spine straight, we're completely alert and still. The breath is natural, at ease. Unrestricted. Breathing like we're a baby asleep. And the mind is completely at ease. Adopt the attitude of having no cares about anything at all. You're not trying to figure anything out. Not trying to have an opinion or a philosophy. You're simply here. sense of childlike awe and wonder, not questioning or philosophizing. So whatever arises is simply seen, felt for what it is, with no commentary, as if you don't know, new, fresh. As if you've just been bumped on the head and you've lost all memory. No reflecting on the past. And if there is no past self, what's there to think about of your future self? And either with eyes open or closed, simply become aware that you are. Feel your thoughts to be like the noise of a radio going on in the background. Sometimes the noise of the radio seems to catch your attention if you're attached to a topic. Just note this and release just by simply looking at the thought. So no rejecting and no adopting. They're simply there. No problem. Notice that nothing touches the sense of being, the awareness itself. The awareness itself is nothing special. It's what's always here. But our attention is always focused on the content of the mind. And now our attention is simply on the very awareness itself. the space without content. It's not an object. It's just a knowing, a presence. Are there any problems here? Is it tight or loose? Is it near or far? Is it old or young? Does it have an opinion? Can it itself ever be angry or sad or have its feelings hurt? Do all these things that I just mentioned merely arise within it as occurrences that simply come and go? Is this space you or not? Is it unfamiliar, alien and abstract? Or is it that you've simply never paid attention to the very awareness which sees all things? Can it ever go away? Can you ever do something to attain it? When you get caught up in a thought, has this space disappeared? And you have to recreate it. Or is it just simply that you're not paying attention to what's already there because you're interested in the content of the comings and goings? If this space is always here, and it's you, what is this person you keep putting your attention onto? Does that change? Does it ever not change? The person, happy one minute, sad the next, angry one minute, aggressive, confused, indignant, happy, joyful, excited. What's aware of the person? Is it this space that's always here? Is it a person? Does it have flesh, opinions, shape? Is the person that you've been relating to merely another thought, another appearance that arises within it? And it's only a habit of attention that we keep holding on to it and suffering. Is this space of awareness suffering? Maintaining this awareness, feel your body. Feel the senses around you. Still just arising in presence. And take a moment to stretch if you need to, or have a drink. So we'll continue with the the Bodhisattva experience, the description of a good being. I think I need to, if I get it wrong, I'll come back and check, but I'm sure Song Rinpoche, who's one of Venerable Geshe-la's teachers, said if you can practice moral discipline for one day in these times, it's worth more than a lifetime in Buddha's time. And Venerable Geshe-la said, if you check, although there are a lot of people who are in Dharma centers and Buddhists everywhere, there are very few people who practice moral discipline. In my experience, people are crazy. And I've probably said it before, but I think it's just really great that Bono said back in the 70s and 80s, I can remember, you go into the toilet and every single part of it is covered in graffiti. Like abuse, swear words, all kinds of gangs, everything. And it's like, it's not there anymore. And it's like, where did it go? And it's like, social media. That's where it went. So without the social media, then you just go to different places and it's like this anger, insanity comes out as just abuse. Abusive language, opinions. You just go on it. It's just crazy. People are crazy. Just because they get involved in spirituality doesn't make them any less crazy. In fact, crazy people are generally drawn to spirituality. Yeah, it's like an outlet for their madness, and then they will attack the person they're being crazy towards if they're not compassionate, if they don't put up with them, because that means they're not bodhisattvas. It's this kind of insane logic. It says any kind of attacking language, you're wrong, it's just nothing to do with the Buddha. It's important you understand these things. Just because people are near a Buddha, it doesn't mean they have anything to do with them. Like Osho said, you might be holding my hand and you're 1,000 miles away from where I'm at. The world that I inhabit. And someone can be on the other side of the planet and be in connection. If you've got a good close friend and on the other side of the planet, you know what I'm saying. Yeah. You ever go somewhere, you might be sitting right next to someone, you don't know where they are, where they're coming from, what universe they're inhabiting. Isn't it? It's very important to understand that you never weaponize these teachings. And that's what people are doing. Like learning a set of rules and then applying it to other people. Crucially, everyone here is connected individually. And Buddha said it's an individual phenomenon. You pay no interest in what anyone else is doing on the path. It's just, are you being kind? It doesn't matter what you think they are, whether you think they're a teacher or they should be like you. That is not the Buddha Dharma. It's just for you to apply to yourself in the situations. If you're judging someone else, you've left the path. Not forever, in that moment. Yeah. They all say it, all the big guns. It's like the main bullet. Don't judge. It's like Buddha, Jesus, Mohammed, peace be upon him. Don't judge. It's just so difficult. Just go onto social media and it's just all it is judgment and opinion. Like a wheel, like a machine gun of judgments. All saying that they're Buddhists or whatever they are. It's like, no, you're not. Yeah. I don't care if you say you're a brain surgeon. If you can't fix brains, I don't care what you say. I just, you can have certificates and stuff. I don't care what you say. You're not one. I don't care if you say you're a professional football player. If you can't kick a ball, I don't care what you say. It doesn't matter to me what you say. It doesn't matter if you say I've had empowerments from this Lama, I've done here. If you're on criticizing, abusing people, you're not a Buddhist. It's as simple as that. Understand? That's like the context again, which we approach the Dharma. So some people hear it and then they apply it to other people. It's like one. I mean, it's just so arrogant. You know, like I'm going to learn something so I can tell you off. It's just unbelievable. But from the point of view of the Buddha, it's like you need this, not someone else. You think is it you need it. You know, it's like it's examining your own mind. It's very important to understand we're all alone. Like, was it alone and yet together, like two ships passing in the night? Sure, that's a poem somewhere, isn't it? Where we briefly, our bodies are near each other for a while, isn't it? Very quickly, very soon, you will be alone and dying. And then you're going to be off on another place, another journey. And all the things people said about you mean nothing. The only thing you'll take with you is your actions, your intentions, the imprints on your mind, on your soul. Then you'll realize how meaningless it was to get caught up in fights. The only thing that matters is like, what imprint am I putting on my mind? What imprint am I putting on my mind? Doesn't matter what the other person's doing. To watch Garchen Rinpoche, it's like people are torturing him for 20 years. Doesn't matter what imprints am I putting on my mind. What am I doing? That's the Buddha Dharma in the entirety. It's like the Dharma jewel is my mind. What are we up to? Not accepting invitation. I knew I had it there's another Bodhisattva vow interpretation from Geshe Sewang Samdrup, tutor of the 10th Dalai Lama. This is him writing what the Bodhisattva vows are. In response to others' invitation to accept food, clothing, and so on, due to pride, malice, hatred, or laziness, if one refuses, that is the misdeed of not accepting an invitation. Venerable Geshe says, if someone with a good motivation invites us to dinner, to a party, or for an outing, and without a good reason we decline, merely out of pride, laziness, or anger, we incur a secondary downfall. Valid reasons for declining invitations include, we are ill, we do not have the free time, it would make others unhappy. That's probably, most of you should never go to a party. I'm only joking. Yeah. There would be danger or obstacle to our Dharma practice, and so on. This commitment advises us that in accepting invitations, we should make a dedication prayer that the host's generosity becomes a cause for all living beings to experience the enjoyments of a Buddha. So we want to get into this sense of fluidity about the vows. They're pointing us to be spontaneous and to know our own mind. Yeah. Basically, if you're in a good space, that's enough not to worry about breaking the vows. And generally, if you're like in a good space, you're in presence, then you'll just know whether to go or not. You're like, I'm tired. There we go. Yeah, you just go, no, I've got something else on. Like very, very, very simple. But if you're if you're angry, and that's the reason you're not going, it's like out of spite, out of hurt. Or, you shouldn't go because you're tired, but you go because of your pride. You're just worried about what they'll say about you. You're creating like energetic glug. You know what I'm saying, don't you? You know you shouldn't have gone. Your intuition kicks in after, your intuition knows, and then the what do you call it when you look back at something and you know what's right? Hindsight, that's it. And you just knew. I knew at the time, I didn't listen. It's like I knew at the time, I didn't listen. It's like the essential core of it. But that's generally pride. Or you just got into a habit of being really lazy. And someone's like, come round. You just, I can't be bothered. It's absolutely fine. Like, don't think if someone's, that's like we're never judging. There's nothing wrong with someone who can't be bothered going out. We're interested in ourselves, in creating energetic bonds with people to free them from samsara. This is what a bodhisattva is all about. You're not sitting there like Ming the Merciless with a plan. I'm going to get every living being out of some, do you know what I mean? It's insane. You'll be so tight. You just be like, no one will want you near them. It's a do-gooder, isn't it? We know it from Christian people who go double down on the two, the two energy. It's how can I get them to Christ, isn't it? It's like, I'll be nice, I'll be super nice, and you're just waiting for it, and you're waiting for that card to come in. Here's Jesus. It's not what we're doing. What's a Buddha? Someone who knows themselves. Now, this goes into the next, there's a vow that's coming up, which usually people, not acting in ways that cause others to generate faith. We'll kind of cover that like right now. If you're putting on a display, you become a liar. When you become a liar, you have that do-gooder energy, and you're pretending. That's not going to give someone faith. Not me. Maybe it gives other people faith. Not me. That puts me off the Dharma. That puts me off being around Christians. Someone acting in ways that they feel won't put you off their faith. Now, I find it repulsive. Personally. What draws me is someone who's honest. someone without pretense, someone just being themselves. Now, Buddha is you being yourself. So the best example and the best way to help someone to be a bodhisattva is to be yourself. It's all to do with the intention. Are you with me? You can see how easily people just can, the Christian mind comes into Buddhism and it's just like it just goes into Catholic guilt and pretense. And I'm setting an example, I'm showing you what it's like to be kind. No, it's not. It all comes down to what you understand what a Buddha is, and that's the people to find themselves. How can you find yourself if you're pretending to be something you're not? Yeah. Get someone to explain that to me. So when you're with someone, when you're a bodhisattva, you're making energetic connections with people. Think of much more like that. You're available. You're present. And it's good if someone's trying to make a connection to you, to connect with them. That's all. There's nothing wrong with being lazy. If you're not a bodhisattva, there's nothing wrong with being lazy and you don't want to go out, great. If you're a bodhisattva and you're trying to make connections with people, and someone asks you to come out, and there's no good reason for you not to, like you haven't got anything else on you, it's like, great, you go out. And you make a connection with them by being yourself, not displaying you're a bodhisattva. That's an obstacle. The bodhisattva is generally invisible. Now, if you're understanding deeper, like Tantra, and everything is divine, that includes football. It's not like the world is divine, football's not. It's not like the world is divine, the pub is not. So when you go to the pub, you authentically enjoy it. Completely enjoy it. So completely, others can't believe how much you enjoy it. You so completely don't give a fuck about what other people think that they're magnetized to you. That's a bodhisattva. If you're going out to show what an example is how happy you are, you're a wanker. It's my 2 pence worth on the path. I personally just don't like it. Just don't like someone like that. You feel this mind barrier between them. It's like no different than someone projecting negative things. They're projecting a positive thing onto you. They want something from you. They want your merit. They want you to get into the path so they can feel good about themselves, about you getting in. I've helped someone. It's horrible. Being a Buddha, it's unnatural, that's the thing. It's absolutely unnatural. It prevents you from being natural. You don't have to generate this kind of mind when you have a baby, right? Right now I'm going to help my baby. I mean, if you do, you're going to be, you might have that, you're going to be in trouble. Just be it's like be natural. How much effort does it take for you to care about your child? And then you just bring in the love. The best way to teach your child is for you to love your life and love your partner and be natural, right? Same with your friends. You don't have to like it's not like you're like a spy. Like I'm secretly a bodhisattva and I'm going to go in it. Internally, no one can see your mind. That's why it's called secret. No one, right? That's what we mean by the secret aspect of the path. The outer aspect is the things you can see. Now, if you're with people and you know they're really going to judge you from the external, and so I'm going to qualify what I'm about to say. Everything depends on where you're at on your path and what you're choosing to do in that particular moment. If you have the need to say fuck you to everybody, then you don't behave in any way whatsoever being concerned about what someone else thinks. If you understand you've been through that phase of needing yourself to be affirmed, then if you recognize that it's more helpful to make a connection with someone by behaving in a simple, externally kind way, you'll do it. Basically, you've got nothing to prove to yourself anymore. And you just... What I'm trying to get across is these are not intellectual decisions. You flow with how you're feeling. And you can intuit that it's okay you don't need to display some internal philosophy you have. You don't need to impress. You don't need to go, look, I don't want to do that and I want to stand up for myself. You've passed that phase. You just be whatever someone else needs you to be. And I say, you're not like some spy. You just flow with it because whatever you do is divine. So you get into football as much as anyone gets into football because it's also divine. And whatever that person needs. And there's no holding on to self. There is no self. So you can be a self who sews, who knits, who quite happy to talk about gay history. Whatever is needed, whenever. And you're into it. Not as a pretense, as in it's a magical part of God's existence. Completely fluid. So that's when we accept invitations. It's amazing, really, isn't it? You felt like bumbling about life normally, and how deep we can go into something. It's actually it's a really important point. There is no world out there. And it all depends on our description of the world, what appears to us. Just as if you tense your body up and then you feel more of a relaxation, you can try it. You can go out into the world and have an internal voice that criticizes everything. You just go, no, there's no God. There's nothing else other than what I see. There is no unseen forces. There is no energy. Yeah, everything's kind of useless. Nothing will really work. The film won't be that good. I just know it won't. It won't be that good. Yeah, I've got my parents. I'll probably be rubbish. Probably dislike me. When I meet people, they probably won't like me. Yeah, there's no magic. No, there's no synchronicity. That's rubbish. And do a day like that. Yeah. And whoever you're about to meet, think, oh yeah, they harm me, they hurt me. I remember that time they hurt me in the past. Just hold on to the past, hold on to the hurt, and that's your description of the world. And see what it's like. No, like really, if you're struggling with like the tantra and stuff like that, do that. you'll soon know. You'll soon know what it's like. How you describe the world is what will come back at you. Just watch a film, go, it's just cameras, it's just cameras, just people acting. Just cameras, just people acting. Nothing special. That's been made before. I bet it's been made before, but it's not that original. And what will you get from the film? Tantra says create a milieu of wonder, of magic, of trying to see everything as divine. You never criticize the guru. You just create that they're magical. Yeah, that it's like something wondrous will happen. The synchronicities. It's just creating a milieu in the mind, a mood for you to awaken to the space where you're enlightened and you see it all as divine. None of it's true. Just as all the negative things. None of that's true. It's just a description in your mind. And then what do you experience? Is it magical? Is it fun? Is it enjoyable? And if you can go between the two if you want, and then go in between the middle. All the Dharma teachings that you've heard, there's nothing in them. There's nothing in them that you won't hear when you awaken. It's just that you'll be in the right space when you hear it and it'll go, boom. Like it should radically change your mind to understand that the I you're relating to doesn't exist. If you go, oh right, yeah, it doesn't exist, I know that, and you just continue on and just continue talking to yourself, and it has no impact. If you hear it and you go, I don't exist, and start living in consciousness, that's awakening. You understand that what you're looking at right now, you can look about your room. This is God. When you awaken, you won't be in the same space because you won't be holding on to concept, but it's the same space. Why aren't you seeing it now? You are seeing it now. Why isn't it impacting on you that this is God? There's a deep description that this is a room. It's normal. It's a room. It's rubbish. Mum and Dad are annoying. Mum and Dad are people. That's what you project. That's the world you live in. Really, try it. Just really impute that they're horrible. That they're a waste of time. Everyone's a waste of time. What's the point? And see what world you live in. See how powerful your thoughts are and your mind is. So when we're approaching the Bodhisattva, we're creating this milieu of magic that I'm opening up to absolute love. This is my being, and I'm going to be a being who flows in love. So it's like we're putting the intention. Someone invites you at a party. It's quite a common thing. So it's a very common household thing. You get invited to a party. You go, all right, I'll go. That's it. There's nothing there. It's nothing. You don't awaken, right? So someone invites you to a party, and inside your intent, your being, your energy, like the intent, or decide to wake up at 6 o'clock. Make the intention the night before, and we wake up. It's like, this is going to be a magical event. This is part of my awakening. And you notice it's like, that is a challenge to someone who invites you, go, I don't really fucking like them. You don't follow that. If you follow that, the point, that's going to prevent your awakening. That's the point. Because we are connected with all beings, and if you make that intention with someone, because you're making a new description of the world, this person's horrible, you create and you close the energy down. It's not helpful. You're reaffirming the false self. You're reaffirming a painful description of the world around you. As if someone invites you to a party, it's now becoming the engine of your awakening. It's just unbelievable. There's nothing, you've just been invited to a party. Are you with me? You're just being invited to a party, but now it's the path to enlightenment. That's enough. Then you don't need to go with some special do-gooder mentality or I'm a secret bodhisattva. It's just in your intention to awaken, to be there. And when you're at the party, then there'll be all other kind of things that happen as you're going deeper into presence. And this is the magical display of presence. It's incredible. You don't have to do anything. If you do anything, that's an obstacle. You see, like the false self, you just know what I'm talking about. You have to start going into knowing, intent, into intuition. This is the energy body. You just know what I'm saying. There's a part of you just knows. It knows when it's on, and it knows when it's off. And this just reminds you when you're off, don't do it. Don't do it. None of these actions are negative in themselves. But if you want to awaken, then it's an obstacle. Does anybody have any questions so far? Rabbiting on for a while.
I'm just wondering about sharing the Dharma and not coming over as I'm a Bodhisattva and I want to have an impact on you. My intention is to allow other people to know that this, but I would hate to think that I would be putting anybody off because it's maybe feels too much of an attack sometimes or too sensitive or
well, the next vow is not accepting gifts, and then the next one is not giving dharma to those who desire it. So we can just go for that one just now. Not giving dharma to those who desire it, which is put here as due to malice, hatred, envy, or laziness. If one refuses to grant the dharma to those who desire dharma, that is the misdeed of not granting dharma to those who desire it. Most of the time, if someone says, "Oh, can you tell me about the Buddha?" you're quite happy. Then you'll notice a time when you're just feeling like proud or lazy. I can't be bothered. Some other snidey little mind will come in. You notice it. Then the vow will come in and remind you, don't do it. Don't behave like that. When you're in that mind, you recognize you're in the false self. That's the point. When you're in the false self, it doesn't want to come out of itself. I mean, I know people who are, their whole lives, their pride would never even let them hear the Dharma. I don't need to listen, I know how the world works. That's what we're dealing with in ourselves. When the false self kicks in, well, I mean, I say this, even if you practice for 10, 20 years, it can just seem like a dream. Once the negative mind comes in, it starts describing it in a negative way. It just says, "Oh, actually, that was what happened. Actually, you did that at that time." It just starts describing the world in a negative way. So we have to watch that. So Venerable Geshe says, if someone with a sincere desire to practice Dharma requests us to teach them, and without a good reason we refuse merely out of laziness, we incur a secondary downfall. So you notice it's always, if you've got a negative mind, you don't have to worry if you don't have a negative mind. You almost don't need to worry about anything. If you're just in presence, you've got a positive mind, whatever you're doing, you won't be breaking it. Yeah, just so you keep it nice and simple, you don't have to worry. It's just when the mind is getting angry, Or you responded and say malice, laziness, pride. Don't bother me. I'm a yogi. I'm not going to stoop to give you some teachings. Valid reasons for not teaching include, we do not know the subject well enough. Very good reason, right? Rather than just drumming up some opinion. Or it's not suitable to teach them. You don't teach emptiness to a beginner, for example. It would make others unhappy. Yeah. So someone, if you've got a Christian, you've got to imagine you've got a Christian parents and the Christian teenage son requests some Dharma, you maybe check with them first. We are ill. We do not have the free time. And so on. Very simple, right? It's kind of common sense. It's like you don't need to. This commitment advises us that whenever we have the chance, we should try to eliminate the darkness of ignorance from the minds of others by giving Dharma teachings. So with the Buddha, you have to request. And like with some lamas, you have to request again and again before they give you the teaching or even refuge. Some people ask for refuge and some others just ignore you. And if you go away, it shows you weren't sincere enough. If you're sincere, you keep asking. So, please give me the teaching. So, please give me the teaching. You had to ask Buddha 3 times, apparently, before he'd give a teaching to show, right, this person wants it. And then if they ask sincerely, then you have to give the teaching. Yeah. And times change. So it's like Mirji says, you don't hide, but you don't force. Yeah. So you can, if you're into the Dharma and you're on social media, for example, and this is what I'm talking about, it's my life, talking about the Dharma. Great. How else is someone else going to make a connection with you? You're not forcing it on anyone. You're just being yourself and talking about what you love and doing your thing. Yeah, it's like different times. So be wary that if someone starts asking you for Dharma teachings, you become a Dharma teacher and then you enter a nightmarish world. So you better be ready for it. Not accepting gifts, that's the one before. And how is it put by the other? If a benefactor offers one various goods such as gold or silver, and one does not accept them due to malice, hatred, or laziness, that is the misdeed of not accepting such things as gold. Or out of pride. This commitment advises us that in accepting offerings from others, we should use them in the most meaningful way. So it's a great chance to help people. Someone gives us things. If we're empty, we should never feel that anything belongs to us anyway. Is this body yours? Can you keep it? Can you hold on to it and go, this is mine, I'm taking it with me? If you can't even hold on to the body, how can it possess something else? Impossible. It's an illusion. And because you live in illusion, what happens when someone takes something that you imagine that you own? You get angry. That's mine. I, me, mine. I, me, mine. I, me. Every day, everything. Yeah, I, me, me, mine. Everyone, every day. George Harrison. But you notice these things. You know, sometimes you want somebody wants to give you something, you just out of spite them, to hurt them, you won't take it. We can be so low, can't we? We're fucking crazy. That's what we are. So it's like I'd wait to try and come out of this. And this can strike us anytime. It's like you're never above it, are you? That's the point. It's like that's why it's like we call it a vow. So it's like once you learn it, you don't have to keep. You just alert when it comes, and you won't want to apply it. That's what we mean by the pride, the false self. No. It's like, no, this is the moment. It's such a struggle. The fight with the self. Yeah, and this is great. We want to be in. It's okay when you're like resting in presence and everyone's resting in presence together. And it's a nice, happy environment. And then it's kind of easy. But when you're thrown somewhere amongst people, that's where it counts. Yeah, it's, I think it was Taisha Abla. She's like one of Castaneda's Sangha. She said like she spoke to like Tibetan monks and stuff and said it's just really difficult to maintain that space when they come to America, when you're in the world and there's lots of things to maintain the shamatha. And so it's like the whole thing with that line is you have to do it in the world. Maintain that inner peace whilst you're out, whilst you go to college and get a degree. That's where you practice. Yeah, that's what I practiced. So all the stuff in the path of rest in the self, it's like at college. If you just like hide away and then you come into the world, it's chaos. So this is the challenge. This is what we want. So someone gives you 500 quid. It's like, and it just goes in one hand. They give you 500 quid, and it goes out the other hand. And when they give you 500 quid, the challenge is to watch the eye go. I'll put it in the bank. I did. Isn't it? As soon as you go, I'm going to do it, then false self is in. Tight, pain, anger, fear, jealousy. Where will I put it? Have I got a safe enough box? I need to get to the bank. It's like, now you can sit alone or go to an ashram and no one, that never happens to you. There's no one doing anything. You won't really know if you've got it, right? If you can do it there, when someone gives you money, you know that you're on. You know, and you're not afraid of anything or anywhere. Then you really know you're after awakening. That the stuff of the world is your playtime. You're always on, you're always in, and you're just like watching the mind come up in these situations. You're always meditating. When we sit, we're just creating a space that we're going to take into the world. It's not like we sit, watch the mind, and then we're back in the world. We just me. Come back down and just try and watch your mind. That's not the path. That's like you might as well take a joint. Honestly, I'm serious. Like, you're better off just smoking a joint. It'll relax you better to get you than to go back out into your just worldly life. Nothing wrong with it. It's great. I'd say most of the people that was friends with on the path, they took drugs. I'd just always kind of be aware of someone if they hadn't. But uptight, kind of rulesy soldiers, generally sixes. really troopers. That's the 6 troopers. Just never doing anything wrong. The do-gooders, 2s and the 6s, and then the 7s who've never taken drugs. Their idea of fun is like maybe a game of Monopoly, or a bit risque if you say the word bum, or play Twister or something. It's like not macro. Can't remember what I was talking about. Freud time. Anybody got any questions coming up at the moment? No, practice. Intention. We're always practicing. If you're just doing it when you're sitting down, you're not going to get anywhere. And it's better to be doing it in the world than to be 8 hours on retreat. As a lifestyle, we all need to go on retreat. Like it's a good amount when we do 3 weeks, and it's a good chunk of time just to sit. And there's a time when we might want to really just go into that space. We really got a sense of ourselves. We're not chasing after anything. We really want to delve deep. So we're using our desire of the world to overcome the self as we enjoy everything that arises. It's quite profound, really. And we just keep noticing when the false self comes up, and some things are harder than others. Yeah, there are certain things we're just, we've got an attachment for that probably not going to break just for a while. Just kind of sense it. And then there's times where it just seems too much. There is a tipping point when we're just going through it, practicing, and then it just becomes like effortless. We've contemplated enough that we can just now know. And we just always notice when the false self comes up and the delusions come up, when it is annoying. As Ram Dass says, you learn to love it and hate it at the same time. There's a classic. Forsaking those who have broken their moral discipline. One of my favorites. So, due to malice, hatred, or laziness, if one rejects and dismisses someone on the grounds that they have faulty ethics because of having committed a deed of immediate retribution, that means killing someone, like your parents, or a root downfall, that is the misdeed of rejecting those with faulty ethics. So that means anyone who criticizes Osho as being a fake guru breaks the moral discipline. Anyone that criticizes Chogyam Trungpa, anyone that criticizes people because they've broken the moral discipline, has broken their moral discipline. You soon see how many people don't practice pure moral discipline. It's classic. It's a favorite. So I've experienced it directly for myself, like of disrobing and then going back into the community, and people won't even say hello to me. And then they'll be teaching this. It's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable how many people don't practice. And they use the teachings to weaponizing it, like it's a way for their anger to be channeled. You're bad. You're destroying the Buddha Dharma. It's like, no, you are. That's all there is to it. So, like he's saying, the 5 actions of immediate retribution, like killing your mother, killing your father, killing an arhat, harming a Buddha, or creating a schism in the Sangha. These are like unbelievably bad actions, and they're like, don't judge them. So, Venerable Geshe says we incur this downfall if we ignore with a judgmental or self-righteous attitude those who have broken their moral discipline. This commitment advises us that we should keep the intention to help all living beings, including those who have broken their moral discipline. It's got nothing to do with you, whether someone has broken their discipline. That's all there is to it. It should be really easy. I can't believe anyone ever does it. Talked about it before, but it's worth talking about it again because so many people do not follow this. Anyone who decides to take the ring and walk to Mordor to put it in the mountain is worthy of veneration. It doesn't matter how far they get. 99.99% of people don't want to take the ring because it's a hard journey. If you criticize someone who takes the ring and they fail on their way, you're a fucking dick. Anyone that decides to be a better person is worthy of veneration. If they fail in the inability and they get overcome by the self and you then berate them, I mean, it's evil. It should just, if someone breaks their moral discipline, it's like, well, how far did you get? Wow, incredible. How long did you do it for? 3 days, incredible. 99.9% of the people don't do it for any time, any moment whatsoever. If someone decides to start smoking again after they take their New Year's resolution, if they break their New Year's resolution, you don't start criticizing them. You say, how long did you get? Maybe you'd probably laugh if they didn't make it to the end of the day. But they tried. If you decide to then, you're not my friend anymore. Why? Because you started smoking again. It's like, you with me? It's the media mentality. It doesn't matter how many good actions that person does. It doesn't matter what good they're trying to do. You did something wrong. You're bad, and we're going to identify you with that negative action and hold it against you for the rest of your life. If you don't understand that's an obstacle to awakening, you're in trouble. That's an obstacle to awakening. That there is no self, that's what I mean. Not only are you identifying them as a self, you're identifying them with a single action out of all the actions they do. And holding on to it inherently, like they're inherently bad, out of righteousness. And it just gets astonishing levels when it gets to people like Osho. He managed to pick out maybe 2 or 3 actions he might have done in a lifetime because a few of his sannyasins still had difficulties in samsara. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine finding a spiritual path and just because you're on the spiritual path, you're not immediately awakened? And that you still have difficulties in life? Can you imagine? What a fucking fraud. What a wanker. And he should be banned and ignored. Because out of his 1 million sannyasins, there's a handful of them that experience some difficulty. Out of the 20 years. Absolutely insane. People are crazy. So this is advising us to stop looking at the negatives that people do and defining them by it. When we're doing the Vajrasattva practice, we're releasing that mindset. I am not defined by my past. In fact, if when I describe myself in a different way, I can release my past. Not only am I not one action, I'm none of these actions. I'm pure being, and so is everybody else. And if that person appears to me to fall, that's my karma to see that. Because other people don't see that. I don't see that in Osho. Other people do. I don't. I'm not right, they're not right. I just see an enlightened being. That's what it's advising us to do. But it's for the way I'm describing it, as a safeguard. Whenever the mind comes in, oh, they did that thing. They did not have to start the path. They did not have to spend any time being kind. Most of the planet aren't. Most of the people are now bullying each other in Palestine or Israel. People like violence. They like killing each other. Yeah. They like all kinds of garbage. They're like, just go out tonight, isn't it? Saturday night, just go out into the streets. If you're in the city, go out and look the fuck they're doing. And I'm judging this person because they did one bad action. In 20 years, them trying to do good. It's crazy. Yeah, just watch that mindset. And it's not a pleasant mindset to have. Does anybody have any questions? Anything coming up? Sylvia.
It was going back to something you said about earlier. For example, recently I was in the pub with two friends, and I don't know the difference between having the mindfulness that stops you going into maybe saying something that hurts people and you feel guilty afterwards. So I don't know the difference between having that mindfulness and also perhaps that's the kind of, how to explain it. It feels like perhaps that can go into the tightness with being an asshole, maybe trying to put a bit of dharma across. And then when you said to just totally relax, you're there as part of your path. And I was like, oh, if I don't have that mindfulness in the moment, maybe I'll have another pint and then I'll just do something mental and I'll just kind of, so there was that fear, like, if I just let go and don't have that mindfulness there, maybe I'll just lose it and I'll just do a bad action. So I don't know the balance.
What we're doing with the Bodhisattva is we're basically agreeing to get muddy. People on the monk path, the nun path, they don't want to get muddy. It's great, fair enough. It's not nice getting muddy. It's not nice having someone like have horrible people in them. Like going to a pub, it's not particularly a nice environment. If you're trying to rest in pristine awareness, unless you're like an advanced yogi, it's better to be around the tweeting sound of birds and gentle sunlight across the glades, with clouds passing in the sky. It's all quiet. That's nicer, right? So to be in the pub, I'm going to get muddy. No. Don Juan gives the best advice. It's know your heart before you engage in the action, and then abandon yourself to it. If you're continuously worried, you can't let go into the situation. That continuous worry is self-importance, and that's our enemy. So there's a balance, and we start to learn to trust in intention. So intention is not this, it's not, I'm going to do it. That's not intention, that's thinking. We do the prayers, we create intention. Intention's like an energetic field in which I'm going to the pub, you can just set out, and may it be for the benefit of all living beings. Said before, if you're trying to do good and show an example, that's not for the benefit. And then it's the ability to slide into the situation, to play, that you are the best version of yourself in that situation. And by being the best version of yourself, with no particular interest to sway anyone, naturally someone will be like, he's really happy. What's your game? We're not trying to do it. We don't care if that happens or not. It might not happen. But you make an energetic impact on someone. It's happened to me many times. I remember that person. It's like, that person's really free. I remember that person. It leaves a mark on them energetically, more than someone who you go to a pub and they're talking about philosophy to you. You generally will feel more someone who's free. And you're like, wow. Even if you're drinking 8 pints, there'll be like an energy behind it that's like, well, he didn't care. It was so free. When we're engaging in chat with people, we'll probably say things we'll regret. Maybe we'll say something, made a joke and it hurt someone, and we regret it. And we purify it. And we take on some negativity. We accept that. Rather than just being tight and I'll say the right thing and that doesn't work for me. For some people it may work. They say that's not my path or my way. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like it's not always that tightness, but when it does happen, it doesn't feel like the way for me anyway. And I think there's some kind of feeling of self-importance when I'm in that. Yeah.
Great. And you trust your intention. So you don't need to be like, it doesn't need to be at the forefront. That's the point. It's like you'll start to know when you go off, like, oh, I'm going, my delusions are up. You'll just know.
Mm-hmm. So it's like you have your intention, you know you're the best version of yourself you can be in that moment, and you just trust that, and then just let go.
Let go.
Yeah.
Let go.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
you have to know your... sorry, go on.
I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure if I started doing something like really delusive, I would realize. I can trust that I would realize.
Absolutely. That's what we're studying for. And like what we're reading out just now, it says, if you're motivated by anger, malice, laziness, pride, everyone. So if you go to the pub and you're angry, don't go. That's like, or change your mind. Because if you go in angry, it's going to be bad. And if you go in loving and present and go in, although there'll be some muck that comes, the Bodhisattva intention overrides it all. The Bodhisattva vows are higher than the monk vows because they're just for your own, generally your own personal liberation. So with a bodhicitta motivation, so bodhicitta motivation is not that just mind, I'm going to liberate, it's this heart, it's the heart is opening. The open heart trumps me resting in presence. Like me, I'm only concerned about my awakening, and I'm not going to let anyone affect me. The open heart trumps it. Yeah, it's braver, and yet you're taking on stuff. You say like a bodhisattva may decide to donate their organs, and it might affect the way they die. So be it. I'm going to help someone. That's really attacking the self-importance. As I said before, it's almost like, that I won't become enlightened. That's what bodhicitta is. The wish to become enlightened by not wishing to become enlightened, if it interferes with helping someone. It's like that. You know what I mean? You can feel it out. It's like Geshe Chikawa when he just wished so hard at the time of his death to be reborn in hell so he could help people. They went straight up into the pure. Said that mind, it can't. It's just so pure. But he genuine wish, I want to go to hell. You have to sense self-importance is so tricky. It comes into everything we do. It's just like, it's unbelievable. So we need lots of tricks and skillful ways to move around this strange defending the self. Well, at least we're going to stop defending the self. How much energy and time we put into the self. It's not there. Yeah. And you can feel it when people say they're resting in presence, they're selfing doubly. Don't interfere with my awakening. I mean, it's so tricky. Think about it though, because we're doing Vajrasattva, how much time do we spend defending ourselves, upholding it, fighting off other people? It's profound. Yeah, this is not a hobby. And getting to this level, this is like a lifetime's journey of whew. So part of letting go of self-importance is recognizing that it's difficult to let go of self-importance. It's like, and that you're going to go into self-importance. And at the same time, you can't indulge in it. This is constant dance and flow and balance. It's a feel of what this thing is. It gets so tight and then so loose and then tight and balancing. But underneath it all, you can feel an intention. There's certain archetypes that create a mood, like the archetype of the warrior. It's a mood and a feeling of not to be too self-indulgent. And over time, we kind of imbibe it. We imbibe what this feeling means to be a bodhisattva. It's like an archetype. I think we should probably end there. It's 1 o'clock. So we got up to, next one is doing little to benefit others. Again, we'd not be taking that from a Christian point. You can think about what that would mean, doing little to benefit others from the point of view of Dzogchen. So I hope I'm getting across what the sense of what this means. The Bodhisattva vow, the Bodhisattva expression, the connection to the universe. No judgment, just love. And a profound sense of making the world magical, in which we're going to dance in it, with the most fundamental trust that underneath it all, it's all perfect and divine. And these are ways of expressing ourselves so we can flow into that with abandon and glee and joy in all situations with everyone. And underneath it all, we're loving them. That's what it means to make a connection. We're loving everything. and foremost with loving ourselves as we love others in amazement of everything that's happening. So even an invitation to a party is the path to enlightenment. Thank you very much. By this virtue, may every living being find the quick path to bliss. May the precious supreme bodhicitta grow where it has not yet grown. Where it has grown, may it not decrease, but flourish for evermore. And may every living being awaken to their true nature. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. Amen. Peace be upon you.